There is a version of you that will never escape. Not because the world won't let you, not because the economy is against you, not because you didn't get the right opportunities, but because something inside your own mind is quietly, methodically ensuring that you stay exactly where you are. And the worst part? You already know this is true. Most people spend their entire lives chasing the wrong enemy. They blame the system. They blame their upbringing. They blame bad timing, bad luck, bad people. But poverty, real poverty, the kind that follows someone across jobs, across cities, across decades, that kind of poverty isn't a financial condition. It's a mental one, and a weak mind will protect its weakness like it's the most valuable thing it owns. Here's what nobody tells you. The brain is not wired for success. It is wired for survival. And survival doesn't need ambition. Survival doesn't need discipline. Survival doesn't need you to grow. Survival only needs you to feel safe. And for a mind trained by years of smallness, staying poor feels safe. Staying unknown feels safe. Staying mediocre feels like the only honest thing left. This is the trap, and most people die inside it without ever realizing the cage was never locked. Think about the last time you were close to something real. A business idea, a moment of clarity, a decision that could have changed the entire trajectory of your life. What happened in that moment? Not in the world, inside you. Because most people, right at the edge of transformation, feel something that doesn't feel like excitement. It feels like danger. The body tightens. The mind starts negotiating. It starts listing every reason why this probably won't work. Why you specifically are not the kind of person this works for. And slowly, quietly, you talk yourself back to familiar ground. That is not caution. That is a mind protecting its poverty. Psychologists call it the homeostasis of identity. The self will resist any change, even positive change, that threatens its current image of who it is. And if somewhere in your past you absorbed the belief, consciously or not, that people like you don't win, that success is for other people, that wanting more is arrogance or foolishness or fantasy, then your mind will spend every waking moment making sure that belief stays true. Not because it wants to hurt you, because it thinks it's protecting you. This is why willpower alone never works. You can want success desperately and still self-sabotage with devastating precision. You can start the business and then quietly let it fail. You can lose the weight and then gain it back. You can save money for 3 months and then spend it on something you don't even remember. Not because you're broken, because your identity hasn't changed. And behavior always follows identity. The real question isn't what are you doing? The real question is who do you believe you are while you're doing it? There's a particular kind of pain that weak minds carry. And it's not the pain of failure. Failure is loud. Failure is visible. Failure at least gives you a story. The pain that weak minds carry is the pain of the unlived life, the quiet, suffocating awareness that somewhere between who you are and who you could be, there is an enormous distance. And every year you don't cross it, the weight of that distance gets heavier. You feel it at 2 a.m. when the world is quiet and your thoughts aren't. You feel it when someone younger than you accomplishes something you've been thinking about for years, because leaving would require you to believe, with no guarantee, that you are worth something more. And that belief, that terrifying, unguaranteed belief in your own worth, is the exact thing a weak mind refuses to carry. Now, here's the shift, because this isn't a video about what you're doing wrong. This is a video about what you're about to understand that almost no one around you ever will. The people who escape that cycle, the ones who genuinely transform, they don't do it by becoming fearless. They do it by becoming willing. Willing to feel the fear and move anyway. Willing to be bad at something new long enough to become good at it. Willing to look foolish, to start small, to fail publicly, to rebuild silently. They develop what can only be described as a tolerance for discomfort that the average person physically refuses to build. Because here is a truth that cuts deep. Discipline isn't a personality trait, it's a tolerance threshold. The person who wakes up early every morning and works when they don't want to isn't fundamentally different from you. They have simply raised the amount of discomfort they're willing to sit with. That's it. That is the entire secret that self-help books spend 300 pages dancing around. You don't need to want it more. You need to be willing to be uncomfortable longer. And the mind, the same mind that has been protecting your smallness, can be retrained, not through motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are weather. They change. You can't build a life on weather. You build a life on systems, on decisions made in advance, on an identity so deliberately constructed that even on the days you hate everything, You still move because that's what the person you've decided to become actually does. This is where the transformation lives, not in the dramatic moment, not in the revelation, in the quiet, unglamorous, relentless choice to act like the person you're becoming before you feel like that person yet. Most people are waiting to feel ready. They are waiting for certainty. They are waiting for the fear to pass before they begin. But the people who change their lives understand something fundamental about how change actually works. The feeling follows the action, not the other way around. You don't get confident and then start. You start, and through the accumulation of kept promises to yourself, through the compounding evidence of your own follow-through, confidence is built. Every time you do what you said you would do when you didn't want to do it, you send a message to the deepest part of your identity. You tell it, this is who we are now. And slowly, then all at once, the identity shifts. And when the identity shifts, the behavior changes without effort because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're finally walking in the same direction as yourself. Here is what I want you to sit with before this ends. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not a talent gap. It's not a resource gap. It's not a luck gap. It is an identity gap. And identity can be changed. Identity is not fixed. Identity is a story. And you have, right now, the power to rewrite it. But only if you're willing to let go of the story that's been keeping you comfortable in your suffering. Only if you're willing to stop explaining your limitations and start exposing them to pressure. Only if you accept that the person who got you here cannot be the person who gets you there, and that losing that old version of yourself is not a tragedy. It is the whole point. The mind that stays poor is not unintelligent. It is uninspired and uninstructed. It was handed a story early in life and never questioned whether the story was true. And it found comfort in the story's consistency, in the predictability of limitation, in the companionship of others who shared the same ceiling. But you are watching this right now, and that means something. That means some part of you already knows the story isn't true. Some part of you has been watching your own life from the outside and feeling the distance between who you are presenting and who you actually are. And that part of you is not weak. That part of you is the only voice that has ever told you the truth. Listen to it. Not tomorrow, not after the situation improves, not when the timing is right. The timing will never be right. The situation will never improve first. You improve first, and then the situation changes because you are no longer the same person, making the same decisions that created it. This is the moment, not a dramatic cinematic moment, just a quiet internal one, where you decide, really decide, that the person you've been is not the person you're going to be, that the ceiling you inherited is not the ceiling you'll live under, that the fear you feel is not a stop sign, it's a compass. It points directly at everything that matters. If something in this resonated with you, not just intellectually, but somewhere beneath that, somewhere that felt like recognition, stay here. This channel exists for the person who is done being comfortable in the wrong life. Subscribe, because what comes next goes even deeper.